Hey guys, Bluebridge here. So apparently, Eghbali and co were not happy after yesterday's performance and went storming to the dressing room. But who's to blame? Them or the manager? Yeah, I called it on Friday. I said Brighton were going to give us a tough game, auditioning for the next player to join Chelsea's project, or so-called project. And yeah, another defeat. That's our third. Okay, we beat Lincoln. So, but before that, we lost to Manchester United, Bayern Munich. 3 defeats in 4. Not looking great. And we had the Eghbali and his incompetent mob of sporting directors walking down, not happy, to the dressing room. And apparently Maresca sort of kind of fobbed it all off and said, this is a normal thing what they do. They've got a little office where they go and discuss the matches afterwards. So maybe they do. Maybe the press were making too much of it because obviously after the defeat. And to be fair, I've seen them walk into the dressing room after a victory as well. So when things are not going well, you're always going to have a lot of media attention. So I didn't watch the game yesterday, so I'm not doing any reports on the actual game. I'm glad I didn't now, and I'm not a sadist. I'm not going to go back and watch it and sort of analyse a game. That's not me. But I've seen little bits and pieces, the goals conceded, shocking errors and what have you, individual mistakes once again, not being able to deal with the fact that we've gone down to 10 men, and that's got to be, that blame has got to just lay on at the manager. Terrible. First of all, I'm just, I'm not blaming him for everything, but there are sort of things that he's accountable for, and this is one of the things that he's accountable for, because he if he does it once, he did it once against Manchester United, we should say, okay, fair enough, you messed up, but you learn from your mistakes. But the next league game we play against Brighton, he does exactly the same thing. And that's indefensible. You can't do exactly the same thing. And his default in the Italian DNA probably is to go on the defensive. And what it does is it allows the other team to come at you, to play. If you give them something to think about, are you positive with 10 men, then it's still, even with 10 men, it's still, as I said, Brighton wouldn't have been so bold at coming at us. I said, this is what I'm seeing. I didn't watch the full game, but this is psychology. That's the psyche, because I've seen it before where, who was it? Somebody, Pat Nevin, I was listening to earlier today, said, you bring on a defender and automatically the rest of the players, it's in their mindset, they've got to play defensively. You bring on an attacking option, then you still have an outlet. You still have that pace. So what you do, you're holding on to a lead. So what's the point? So you're holding on to a lead. So what you do, you just, rather than bringing on a defender, you draw your lines back. You play 2 banks of 4. You let Brighton come at you, and you have your pace merchants where you try and hit them on a counter because they're trying to push for it. We just have to stay tight and compact. And where we get our chances from is on the break. But if you've got no outlet, then the ball's always going to be coming back to you. If the ball's coming back to you all the time, then inevitably you're going to concede a goal. And I saw, I saw the bringing on Gusto as well as to protect Reece James. What a ridiculous decision that was. I saw that incident. Everyone's probably seen that one where Gusto's got acres of grass to run into. He's running up against 2 slow Brighton defenders in Duncan Heck, or whatever his name is. But you know what he does? He chops back and allows the defenders to come back. Somebody with an attacking mindset, if it's a Pedro Neto or Garnacho, anyone, their first thought is to hit the ball and run towards that long piece of grass and have an attempt at goal. But he didn't, and that's the negativity that creeps in, and that's the thing. You should have learned from that. So that's where my criticism goes of Enzo Maresca. And also the fact that he's throwing his toys out in the air at the moment, not putting Garnacho on, not putting Gittins on, £90 million of talent, not playing Gui, who's been called back. So he's obviously using that political game on the board, which again isn't great, and we know how it ends. But so what do we do? Sack Maresca? It's just like when these new guys came along, Potter wasn't doing well, let's sack Potter. And then Lampard's not doing well, sack Lampard. Then we brought in Pochettino, sack Pochettino. There's a little trend going on here. We can't sack everyone. Every manager who's coming, who's facing the same problems. And who's got confidence that the next manager they're going to come, who comes in, is going to not face the same issues? It's not just a managerial issue. It's laid at the foot of the board. I know I'm probably sick and tired of me doing these videos, but this is just alarming. What our board, they got the cheek to actually go down there annoyed at what's happening when they've caused 90% of the issues that we are having at Chelsea. It's ridiculous. One hand tied behind their back. I keep saying that term, but that's what's happening with these managers. And if I was a manager, if I was a decent manager and Chelsea came calling for me, I'm not going. I'm not going because it's going to damage my reputation. If they keep insisting that I've got to work with these 18, 19-year-olds, it's not going to do any good for me. Can you imagine Jose Mourinho, Antonio Conte, people like that, Pep Guardiola? You've been told to work with a load of 20-year-olds. They'll tell them where to go. They need a bit of experience in their teams. They've always got experienced players in their teams. And we just get in these players and then we bring in another lot of players and then another lot of players, and it's just not... There's no cohesiveness about the team. There's no squad building. There's no planning. Why buy two left wingers and no centre back? This is our key centre back is. I made this analogy yesterday on a social media post where I said, look, when we played against Liverpool in the League Cup final a couple of years ago, where Liverpool had all these inexperienced players who some of them haven't even played 3 or 4 games for Liverpool in their lives. Why they beat us that day? I know we had a young side, but we had more experience than them when it comes to playing time. Why did they beat us? Because they had a bit of experience in the area that matters most, central defence. Without Van Dijk that day, they would have got beaten 2 or 3-0. I guarantee that. But he held that young side together. We had Thiago Silva for a while, and the board and the director should have seen what the value that he had in the team. Obviously, he's getting a bit older, but even a 40-year-old Thiago Silva now would be better than some of these players here. I was with my boys' football team earlier today, and there's a couple of Crystal Palace supporters there, dads who are watching their sons, and one of them said the best thing we did for Crystal Palace was calling back Chalobah from his loan, because they unearthed Richards there, and obviously they bought Lacroix, and these guys are better than Chalobah. And the thing is, we said that we had enough defensive cover even when Colwill got injured, but they're talking about a guy they tried to push out the door and only recall back because of injuries, but yet they're saying that he's good enough when they didn't deem him good enough last season. We've got Disasi, who was bought in by Paul Stewart, and then nearly £40 million we paid for this guy, and now he's deemed not good enough, but Stewart gets to stay. And even if Maresca wanted to call him back, he can't, because apparently the board are telling him that he's not allowed to call him back for whatever reason. We're down to, with the Chalobah sending off yesterday, we're down to 2 kids who are under the age of 20, and Badiashile, who's just coming back from an injury. Those are our centre-back options to face Liverpool on Sunday. I don't even know if I want to watch that game. It's just going to be carnage. I hate to think what's going to happen in that particular game. But these are the directors of football. These are the people who've built the squad, and these are the people who are getting away with it week in, week out. And their 6-year contracts, etc., etc. One point I missed what Jamie Carragher said when I was speaking about Jamie Carragher on my video that I made on Friday. I missed this vital point, and he says Chelsea seem to be more interested in winning in the transfer market than winning on the football field. They're tapping their backs about all the net profit they've made and all the player sales they've made, but that's to the detriment of the playing sides. Yeah, as said before, we won 2 trophies last year, 2 cup trophies, but the bread and butter in the league, falling well short of that. And if that's the model, I don't want anything to do with it. Just keep buying and selling players, not building a team. 4 years in now, we still haven't got the semblance of a team who can challenge for the league. Under Roman Abramovich, because I think Jose Mourinho said something, we're used to winning. Winning is in our DNA. He built a team to win. Before him, when we just after the Vialli era, when Ranieri came in, 4 years it took us, but every year was showing a bit of progression under Ranieri, resulting in us, I think, because we were finishing outside the top 4 for a lot. The last season he had, before Roman's money, we finished in the top 4, and then obviously Roman's money catapulted us higher. But we are okay in the league. We're not okay. We finished 4th last year, one can argue, but we're no closer to challenging for the league than we were in 2017, I think it was. Conte, 2017. I know some of those years were with Abramovich as well, but yeah. And some people are saying it's we are building for the long term, but if we're building for the long term, why are we developing players and then getting rid of them and then buying a next lot of players the season after? It will make more sense if the bulk of the team stay together and the peripheries were getting sold, but we're selling wingers and buying wingers like it's gone out of fashion, and we're just buying these wingers for the sake of it, and we're never getting that synergy, especially up front. We're not getting that proper partnership being built. Injuries have played a part, I get it, but that's something that we've got to deal with. So once again, sorry to sound negative, but this board are just doing my head in. They got absolutely no business in going after the manager. They should look at themselves first, look in the mirror, see what they're doing wrong, then go after the manager. So what do you guys think? Stick your comments in the section below, and I'll see you on the next one.